Hello there, Strife in Grimbone here. This is our walkthrough of creating a Foundry VTT module for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Last time we finished the Grimbone encounters. This time we're going to do some more wilderness encounters, those that would likely occur after the PCs had already got to Grimbone and not before. So we go to the journal and create another entry. And this is going to be H Harpy layer. All will become clear, hopefully. Harry layer. This area is far from the route from Pittendarka to Grimbone, and PCs have no reason to be out here until they have reached Grimbone and explored it somewhat and have leveled up in the process. When the PCs enter this hex, perhaps because they are following directions northeast of Grimbone to locate the forest drake, something else spies them from the tree canopy. Roll secret DC-15 perception checks for all the PCs. If any pass, read the following. So this relates to the quest that the old drunk in the inn related about his son who'd gone off hunting dragons. He hunted dragons but unfortunately found something else first. We will do our formatting. As we decided last time, for perception checks we will have the players roll manually like this, rather than select a token first, rather than invite them to do so in the chat when they know that there's something to find. You hear a rustle of movement in the dense tree canopy ahead, and for an instant a shadow cast from above flits across the leaf-strewn forest floor. But then there is nothing. Perhaps it was just a large bird, or perhaps not. And the suspicion is clearly it's going to be a dragon. After the PCs have had a moment to mull over this brief encounter, or if none pass their perception check, read the following. You catch a sound in the still air of the forest. A bird's cry, no, singing. The faint strains of a female voice singing a lullaby can be heard in the distance through the trees on one side. Could this be someone naive to the dangers of the forest, or some kind of fey spirit? Well, it's some kind of fey spirit. If the PCs investigate, the faint voice is hard to locate and seems to move even further away from where it first originated. But eventually, as the PCs pass through an opening in a dense thicket of saplings, the voice grows louder and more clear. Beyond is a clearing with a single... Just checking I've got my formatting right. Oh. What happened to the italics? Normally this is italics, I'll just check. So for some reason italics don't seem to work. I don't know if it's because of the font I'm copying from, or if they've updated the journal somehow. Let's carry on. If the PCs investigate, the faint voice is hard to locate and seems to move even further away from where it first originated. But eventually, as the PCs pass through an opening in a dense thicket of saplings, the voice grows louder and more clear. Beyond is a clearing with a single dead tree in which nests a lone harpy. Move to the single dead tree scene which we need to create now. So we'll go to our scenes. We're on chapter 3 and create our scene. So rather than give it a name, we could call it Harpy Layer. But we don't want to tell the players that, so we'll call it Single Dead Tree in the navigation name. And our background image will be in scenes, H for harpy. Foreground is 10 up as usual. And on the grid we had a small high resolution area when I created this in Dungeon Alchemist. Should be a harpy layer there, and we'll view the scene. So we see it there as single dead tree. If the GM hovers over it, it becomes harpy layer. So that looks nice, and then we'll add our walls. Go into tiles, foreground, select. And our harpy walls are here. And this time we won't go for that little island of radial vision. I think we'll just have it not fading at all. And test it out with Valeros this time. Yep. Little gap in the trees. Okay. Now we will do a bit of occlusion for the tree trunks. And little ones for where we imagine the tree trunks to be in our foliage, in our canopy. That's enough, and we'll test it, and yep, we see the shadows there. So one thing we can do is when we have areas like this where it's not immediately apparent to a GM who didn't design the adventure where the players are supposed to be, I suppose there's a path here, but sometimes it's nice just to really spell it out for the GM to make their life easier. We can have a label, and if you see on the actors thing, the party, if we drag the party there like we've done before, it produces this image, and it would be nice to know where to drag that by actually having that image as a tile. So we'll go to tiles. We don't need it to be foreground, background, it doesn't matter, we just want it to be visible to the GM alone. So we select, actually we'll close this and select, and we'll go into system, because it's a Pathfinder 2nd edition specific item. Find the icons, default icons, drag it down. Now it's got to be big because we had a very high resolution, so we'll just make it 1 square size, drag it to there, make it invisible. And there we know we've got start, and we can label it now with a drawing tool. We want invisible lines, no fill, and our text to be start. We'll probably want it to be much bigger than that, 120. And just move it a little bit. There we go. So nice thing. That's a bit too close. Nice thing to make life easier for GMs. The players won't see this. So the idea is that you can just drag it. Yeah, So we've got that, we've got the tiles done, got the walls, lighting, right. Lighting here, we're just going to rely on natural lighting and using the rules-based lighting for Pathfinder 2nd edition. We can specify lighting here. So we see that we've got it synchronized with world time. That means that if we change the clock here, if we advance it to by, say, well now it's 4:58 in the morning, if we advance it by to say dusk 1834, we see it going appropriately half dark, and then to moonlight, much more dark, and then the following dawn. And see, by advancing time we're linking it to time of day, and we can see this in two ways. We can click that, which brings up the world clock settings, and we see that our world default is to synchronize the darkness with the time of day, and for this current scene it's just defaulting to world default, which is enabled. If we had a different scene where we want it always dark, we would set it disabled. And there we don't have the option to go back into the world clock, but we drag this to the brightness that we want, and it's always going to stay at that level no matter the time of day. So suitable for underground, or I suppose if you've got somewhere where it's always light, you want bright ambient light, you can just set it like that and it'll be like that all the time. So to set it back to world clock, we can't click that, so we go into that tab, world clock, settings, bring it back to world default. As if we had an adventure that nearly everywhere was underground, we would have our default not to synchronize, the world default not to synchronize darkness, and then just override it for the few scenes that were above ground by making it enabled. Maybe we'll change the time of day to make it easier to see while we're doing the map. And that's all we need to do for lights. For sounds, we want the usual default, so we've got a forest, no volume easing, not constrained, choose an audio file. All the way up to modules and back down to our module. Forest 1. And then our nighttime one. Just at nighttime. That's our sound. It's daytime, so that one's off. And I think that's it. That's all we need to do for that. Now we need to look into the creature creation. Back in the journal, harpy layer. So I'd created it already, the harpy, but I think it's quite nice to have a harpy on here. So we've got the option, make it invisible, so it becomes visible, the GM can make it visible, and maybe we'll set the height to 10 foot up. So now you can see it's above the branches. If we bring it up, you can see clearly that it's above the branches now. So the harpy combat, roll for initiative, the harpy uses its +16 performance for initiative. I've modified this harpy to bring it back in line with the old harpy and gave it captivating song. And I've got the will save there. Those who fail the save spend their actions ignoring the danger and continue towards the source of the song, remaining at the base of the tree. Those who pass see the harpy perched on the tree, leering hungrily while singing at them. They are assailed by the stench of guano that spatters the tree, along with the blood of previous victims who now lies piles of broken bones around its blackened base. Not the greatest tactician, on its turn the harpy will fly on or hover down to the nearest PC, preferring fascinated opponents, strike with its club and continue its song. The harpy remains aloft and must spend an action each turn to fly or hover, remaining in melee range of adjacent PCs below. When no PCs are any longer fascinated, probably because they were attacked, which breaks the fascinated condition, but at least the harpy gets a sort of nice attack on them in its own mind. It abandons its song and changes to dive bombing tactics, flying down, striking, and flying back up on its last action. Flying back up invites attacks of opportunity from Valoros here. I'm going to check the stats. Its fly speed is 60, so it's difficult terrain to fly upwards, so it will fly up 30 feet and down 30 feet. That's the harpy combat. What's next? After the combat. Got lots of things here that we didn't necessarily want. Oh, this isn't going to work. Let's start again. Oh, sorry. It's selecting an image. Heading to. Not the whole thing. After the combat, if the harpy is defeated, the PCs may search the gruesome remains around the dead tree, and among them will find 110 silver pieces, 5 gold pieces, and a strange, half-buried necklace strung with tiny toy knives made of stone. Taking the necklace disturbs parts of a skeleton that might once have worn it, and under the skeleton is a dirty scroll tube next to a full satchel. The necklace is a necklace of knives. The scroll tube contains a hastily scrawled message. Looks like we're got a loot thing to deal with. So let's copy a loot we already have. Actually, I would start a new one. Skeleton under tree. See, we have a nice picture. We should do. Loot skeletal remains. And we'll tokenize that. I have a sort of boring frame like that. Okay, we are going to want to change this. For some reason I can't disable dynamic token rings automatically. Never mind. So we want it half size. Now what's it looking like? Yeah. And we'll put it there. Start off invisible. Excuse me. And we'll set the items. 110 silver pieces. 5 gold. And the necklace of knives. There we are. And then we have the individual item, the scroll tube. So we'll look at our custom items. Let's duplicate that. Dirty scroll tube. A unique item. And contains a hastily scrolled message, which we will supply. Harpy note. To whomever finds this note, I pray that you have just avenged me and slain the foul feathery beast. If the necklace still lies with me, please return it to my father in Grimbone. It is a family heirloom, but sadly I have failed my family and failed even to face my destiny. I was to slay the great drake, a deed to make my ancestors proud, but instead I lie here, tied up and bound to this tree like a fool, food for the vulture who lured me with her sweet voice. Alas, not all dangers that fly above the treetops are drakes. I was prepared for the wrong foe. I beg you, comrade, finish what I started. Slay the drake, take my net, and cover its lair with it. Then you may defeat it forthwith. That cursed singing again, the harpy returns, and I am sure she is hungry. Save that. And I think we'll have it here as well. it in the middle. Okay. And we'll include a reference to the item. No, we don't. That's the item. We include a reference to the loot. So the GM can either click, or the players can click there, but the GM can look at it there. How does that look? Excuse me, I'm allergic to Pathfinder. So, where have we got to here? Out of the combat, the necklace of knives. We forgot to add the necklace of knives. Oh, no, we did. We added the necklace of knives. Now, a little bit more description. Because there's a satchel. Next to a full satchel. It's that thing again. The satchel is full of strong fishermen's nets like those you saw in Pendaka, but there is no river or lake in the middle of the Ashwood. You may remember from the old drunk in the inn that this is what the figure, that is now a skeleton, had taken with him to try and hunt the dragon. So the PCs may wish to take it as well. So when you get another item, and it's because another little sort of unique item, I'm just going to duplicate it. Fishing nets. Fishing net. The strong fishing net was found in a satchel that belonged to a skeleton found under the harpy's tree. Save that. Now here is something that looks like a fishing net. We're going to find something that looks like a fishing net. Adventuring gear. So bear with me while I see if we've got a picture. Okay, the answer is yes, we do, because I'd created a tile for a net, as will be revealed later. So there it is there. Items obviously aren't tokens, so you just need one image there. And we will put that in. the dirty scroll tube, we need to change that one too. That should be easier. Consumables. That would look like a scroll tube. Right, and then we need to clear the formatting of that. That item separate, but there's probably one thing we need to do about the fishing net. That's where we change its bulk one, price to silver pieces. And the scroll tube price 1 silver piece, bulk negligible. Okay. And I think that's it for that area. H harpy layer, G is going to be the next area, which is the forest drakes layer. We've sadly lost our italics. Oh, they're back again. Crazy. Further northeast of Grimbone, beyond the harpy layer, is that of one of the most dangerous creatures of the Ashwood. Not quite a green dragon, but a powerful phosphorus drake nevertheless. You enter a quiet glade, dappled with light, filtering down through the leaves overhead. There is a wide yawning pit filling the glade. Nothing stirs in its misty depths. Let's do a picture, a scene. Oh dear, can't type anymore. So we're going to navigation name Quiet Glade. And our background image. It's probably F for forest drake. No. Drake pit there. And I've probably gone for a high resolution. 300. Looks right. a pit there. It's a rock. Here's the entrance here. So we'll do what we did for the last map. We will activate it this way. Single dead tree. Out the way, Valoros. Go into tiles. Copy this tile. And go back again. Go into drawings. Copy that one. Okay. We'll have the you go there. In fact, you go away. We'll have something else here. We'll have the foreground. Drake pit there. Drake pit. Trees. Okay. Usual opacities. Oh, but that's not good, is it? Let's change this. Drawing row. Information. I think it'll be there, yeah. Yep, it's hidden. Right, that's done. Now let's check. Valoros, you're continuing on your journey. And we'll have some terrain. We'll have a tree stump there. Tree trunk, I mean. One there. Okay, and then the rock. Say it's a fairly big rock. There's one there as well. That wasn't really accurate. Let's start again. The top of the rock. Okay, that's our background stuff. We want our lights just as before, day and night. Our sounds we'll just copy from the other one. So that's our starting point. Let's go into the journal. The drake layers in a large 10-foot square nook. Halfway down the rough root-entwined walls on the south side of this 15-foot diameter and 60-foot deep pit. The bottom of the pit is strewn with old bones, ranging from kobold to ogre size, giving a clue as to the size and strength of the creature layering here. The drake will be in its lair at night, and has a 50% chance, I'm sure you can work out how to do 50% without percentile dice, to be in its lair. Maybe we have them in our... Oh, I don't think I have a... Yep, we have the... Oh, look. Even though it's not as part of Pathfinder 79. If the pit is discovered during the daytime, in this circumstance a DC 5 perception roll from the top of the pit will reveal a reptilian stench and deep growling snores echoing up from somewhere below. When I see 50% chance, I kind of do it, what I think would be the most interesting thing for the players. The walls of the pit are relatively easy climb, DC 10, due to the numerous roots and other handholds. So let's deal with this one. Check. Athletics. DC 10. Main. Climb. Due to the numerous roots and other handholds, if in its lair, the drake is typically asleep. Unless there is loud noise, it would not hear anything outside the pit. If creatures are descending the pit, they roll stealth versus perception DC 19 to waken the drake. So we'll have that one. Let's cut and paste. And in exploration mode, we call it avoid notice. If encountered in its nook, there would not be any area to stand upon to fight the drake as it fills the floor of this nook. The nets from encounter H, harpy layer, shall we drag that across? May be laid and anchored across the opening of the pit. Loud noise will cause the drake to investigate, and due to its carelessness, it will automatically become caught in the netting. The drake is therefore flat-footed, off guard, and immobilized. In fact, let's do our condition here. And immobilized. at ground level. Within 5 foot melee range of at least some creatures standing at the edge of the pit. The drake must spend an action to hover even while ensnared in the nets. It will spend its other 2 actions to attempt to escape, but its fangs are unsuited to the task and it must make it a plus 13 athletics check against the net's DC 30. So we'll just automatically do this. Once it escapes, consider the net broken. On a critical failure, it becomes restrained, can no longer fly, and falls prone to the bottom of the pit for 30 damage. Nasty. .30 damage. Bludgeoning, obviously. Pulling the netting down with it, it remains restrained until it frees itself down at the bottom of the pit. If the nets are laid across the pit when the drake is absent, it will return by dusk, automatically see the netting, and attack anyone it detects, using a speed surge to close from 100 feet away, and then Draconic Frenzy. It can maneuver freely among the trees. So what we need to do, I think what we'll do is have a heading here. Using the nets. Climbing the pit. Just to break up the text a bit, make it easier to refer to. Heading 2s and heading 3s can be immediately referenced. And that. We need to create a net. Luckily, I've done this. So we have to go into tiles. Go into tiles there, and we have a net. So we'll leave it over here. Right, so we'll keep that like that, and then if or when the PCs lay their net, go into tiles, select it, right click it, make it visible, and then the PCs will see the net. Now we need to create the drake. Back to invisible again. Actually, what would be nice if we had a macro to make the net visible, wouldn't it? With some sound. So let's see if we can do that. Let's go there. Let's adapt one of our trapdoor macros because they're not that dissimilar. We'll right click it, duplicate, Drake net. Good. Right, we want to identify a tile. Double click it, click there to get its UUID. Paste that in there for now. So the scene is that and the tile is that. We don't need a second tile. If it's hidden, make it unhidden. We don't want to do the second tile there. And we want to create a sound. And I have a sound. I just need to remind myself what it's called. Rope. Simple enough. And there we are. It's just called rope. Striping Grimbone walkthrough modules. I will have the same sound for if we, for some reason, making the taking the thing off again. Don't want that one. Right, let's see if this works. Okay, the shuffling around, putting the netting on. And then taking it off again. There. Right, so then we want to put that in our journal. The blank 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 macro to make the net visible. Drag the macro. And we have that in our secret block. Check it works there. Yep. Takes a second time. Oh, so now we've got the Drake to do. Edit it obviously. Drake combat. And we'll use the jungle drake. Level 6. So the PC should be second or third level, but the net obviously makes it much easier. And it's something that they're specifically wanting to hunt, really, so I think it's reasonable to make it like this. It's not like a random encounter that they just happen upon by accident. They've got to be looking for dragons. Our forest drake here. Very pretty. And I think we'll have it green. That kind of green. Drakes don't have 4 legs, dragons do. That's how I remember it. So drakes and wyverns don't have 4 legs. Their arms are their wings, like pterodactyls. Oh, we want to check that this has not gone wrong. Yeah. And it's identity to forest drake. And look at its abilities. So melee, fang, stinger, draconic frenzy, speed surge, all the things that we said it had. Where's the forest drake? And we'll drag it in here. Oh, why have I got 2 forest drakes? Maybe I already made one and didn't tell you guys. Cheeky of me. Let's just check them. Well, they look pretty identical, so I'll just delete one. Oops. I always do that. Need to use the editing one. So we described its tactics when it first meets the PCs. Let's do a bit more about its tactics. What will they be? As grab, but the jungle drake's grab doesn't end if they move away. Instead they carry the grab creature with them. I don't think it's going to want to do that. if it's so near to its layer. It's got its venom. Right. The forest drake typically remain aloft to do so. Does it use Draconic Frenzy for its remaining 2 actions. It's reduced to half hit points. Will more cautiously adopt a cautiously send an action, fly up how many? Fly up 25 feet at the end of its turn, and on its next turn fly down, strike, and fly back up. If to quarter hit points, the drake will fly away, fleeing over the tree canopy to find a safer layer. Fair enough. Now, do we have treasures here? There must be some treasures, but I've just forgotten to do them. We need to have some treasures. Combat. The nook with where the drake sleeps is now free to explore and loot. So what will we find here? So we'll have a loot. see if we can choose a different item. No, I don't have a sort of loose treasure pile. We'll just default to the bag. So we shall change these. $100 silver. He's not a very discerning dragon because he's a drake, so we'll have maybe 350 copper. And add some gold. We can do it this way. $15 gold. And I think the reward, certainly they should get a something useful. I think a rune would be good. Weapon potency rune. Okay, that will do. What about some heat? No, we wouldn't. Something they wouldn't have. So we'll just give a flavourful bit of treasure. Let's have a look here. So look at treasures. Alabaster idol. That's too expensive. Crystal dinner set, fine silverware, that's for the trade to use. A bit of flavour. A leather flagon with a Canaanite symbol, maybe a previous victim was a follower of Caden Kalen. Right, so there we go. Maybe I'll choose find an image for a treasure pile. When I play tested this, the adventurers chopped off the drake's head and stuck it up on the inn, so it became the Green Dragon Inn. Right. And I think having done the Forest Drake encounter and the Harpy one before that, that concludes chapter 3. Next we'll be getting deeper into the adventure, finding more about the mystery of Strife and Grimbone, finding more specifically about what happened to Arca. So thanks for listening and watching, and speak to you next time. Thank you. Bye.